Standard Games Podcast, episode 22, take 1.
Here we go. And as of right now, we got an insane amount of support. Thank you guys so much. We're trying to keep as consistent as possible every single Sunday. And it's awesome to hear you guys say, hey, we want to get into that flow and we want to watch every single episode on Sunday. So we're really working on that. But today we have a super cool guest all the way from the United States called John Weatherby. And John Weatherby is a photographer, an artist really, right? It's more than just photos. A lot more.
We talk about NFTs, where he's really big in, but we also talk about his dream to actually help young people who suffer with substance abuse and how he really wants to start a charity and really help them.
Exactly. And really actually just start a charity and help people and especially children or especially younger people with cameras and help them pursue their dreams. But also he's working on a van and making that how would you describe it?
It's called the Weatherbeast. That's something we've learned. And he creates a van where you can travel in and through his travels take photos out of it. So it's like a mobile studio / home /
I think John Weatherby will explain it himself. So
sure.
Who is John?
I'm a commercial and landscape photographer. I could definitely tack on the title of entrepreneur into that as well now because I run a lot of businesses. So I used to focus a lot on commercial photography, and that was, definitely lucrative, but not as fulfilling as my passion for landscape and travel stuff. So definitely it's been awesome to find new ways to monetize the travel and landscape stuff and kind of combine it with commercial as well. So I can still do the art, but also make good money. So the entrepreneur part comes because I've started some businesses outside of just actually producing photos. And that's been, kind of a journey in itself, but it's also been, very beneficial and lucrative as well. And allowed me to really focus on the stuff that I'm passionate about, with these online businesses per se, kind of running in the background.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we're definitely going to hop deeper into that in a bit. But first, every podcast we start with 3 dilemmas. You're only allowed to give an answer, say pick one of the two, and then afterwards we'll actually talk about the topic so you can explain why you picked the first one.
So,
okay,
we know you're big into NFTs as well, and in photography. So, let's say you have to choose between only selling prints or selling a print of your picture or photo that you took, or selling an NFT.
If I had to answer that question right now, I would say NFTs. Because
No.
I'm super excited.
There's no because. There's
okay.
no because yet. We're gonna run through it. All right.
NFTs.
Cool.
All right. Next one. If you could only...
Should we do it again?
No. That's cool. That's cool.
All right.
Okay.
The second one is, if you could only do one of these two things in your life, only ever take photos again, or only ever edit photos again?
I would only take photos.
Only take photos.
Easy.
We also know you're building your own van. Basically to drive around. Well, we're going to be going into that a bit as well, but it's an epic van. You're posting a lot of stuff about this on your Instagram as well, like the entire journey, showing like we're building like the name of it. How do you describe it? Is it a photography van or a travel photography van?
An adventure mobile studio / home. That's what I would.
That's a great description.
Called the Weatherbeast.
The Weatherbeast. That's what it's called. So, never drive that van ever again, or never take a picture again.
Oh, I would have to never drive the van again. I mean, the van. Am I describing the answer yet, or no?
We'll first go to the first one. So it was the NFTs or the prints. You said NFTs.
Yeah.
So why would you say that? You also said you already started the answer. At this moment, I would say NFTs.
Yeah, at this exact moment, of you asking me, I would say NFTs because I'm super excited about what is going on in the NFT world. And, I feel like we're so early to it. It's almost like, I would say like buying Bitcoin, when it was like $10. What I mean? Like, I'm super excited about the space right now and kind of breaking into it. And that's been a journey in itself. And we can talk a little bit more about that.
Oh, definitely.
But
yes.
I do feel like NFTs and kind of digital art and the metaverse and all these things that kind of correlate with NFTs are the future. And for me to pick something that's, physical and can be destroyed and, all these other things involved with physical prints. And, that would be like, picking a film camera over digital. And like, there's nothing wrong with it, but like one is the future. One is kind of becoming obsolete. And I think there will always be a place for prints. Don't get me wrong. Like, people are still going to live in the real world and have prints in their house and like all this stuff. But the NFTs are really a unique opportunity right now. And I think that, it's an incredible new opportunity for artists to monetize their work, to be seen, and to do more of what they love. So
Yeah, maybe for people who are listening or watching on YouTube, could you explain NFTs and especially how you use them with digital art? Because of course there's a lot of different ways you can use NFTs.
Sure. So NFT stands for non-fungible token. So basically it's a unique thing on the blockchain, right? So like a fungible token would be like a Bitcoin. So like one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin, but an NFT is not the same, right? So like if I have this unique one of one NFT, there is no other one of one NFT, right? Like there is no two of this one thing. So the non-fungible token is basically some type of, I want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? It's basically some type of file written onto the blockchain and tokenized. So it can be any type of media, really. It can be, a picture. It can be a video clip. It can be audio. I mean, you can get really creative with it. So basically, NFTs are almost like cryptocurrency, but they're tokenized forms of media.
Exactly.
And they have all types of different values. So some have utility. So like, for example, Gary Vee had NFTs that allowed you access to his conferences. The NFTs could be like a ticket to an event. It could be, a chance for you to be entered into a giveaway. So there's like utility. Then there's also collectability. So I think most people buy NFTs for the collectability, either to hold and have them go up in value, hopefully, or to turn around and flip them right away for a profit. So a lot of people look at it as an investment opportunity, and some people actually just buy and collect them just like they would buy and collect artwork because they enjoy it and they want to just collect and appreciate it.
Fair, yeah. Would you say it's sort of the digital certificate of authenticity as well when it comes to artwork?
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing because, with traditional art, you do have certificates of authenticity, and those things can actually be forged, right? Where they can't be forged on the blockchain. It's verifiable that, this piece came from this artist and there's no, faking it. So it's funny because there was a documentary on Netflix pretty recently that detailed this huge art scam. And basically this group of people were faking these really famous painters' paintings and selling them through this private art gallery and making millions and millions of dollars. And then it came to light years later that they were all forged paintings and everything was forged. So with the blockchain, it is like the certificate is combined with the actual artwork. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, these are the smart contracts, right? That's where everything is stored. Exactly. So it actually, the fun thing about NFTs, we should definitely go more into this a little bit later. But people would say probably like, why would you get them? And you could even say like, right now it's sort of a hype and people are buying them to actually just see them go up in value, but not really like they see the hype and they want to profit off of this. But at some point, will the demand go up or will it go down? Or what do you think yourself?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's an interesting time because there is so much hype around it and so many people have thought we've been in a bubble with this for months and months, and it only keeps escalating. So it's hard to really say because so many big players now are getting involved that weren't in the space originally, and it's just becoming more and more massively adopted that I want to say it's going to continue. And what's crazy is this is just like crypto. Honestly, there's so many correlations. Being so involved in the space, I see people every day who sell their NFTs at different stages, mostly, these avatar projects, but some of these really highly collectible pieces of art are appreciating in value at an exponential rate. So I know a guy who just sold a Fidenza. This is a highly collected piece of NFT artwork right now from an artist. I think he made like 13 ETH profit on it or something like that,
Okay, so
just from holding it for a month. But now it's worth hundreds of ETH.
okay.
So he basically sold something and made, $50,000, and now it's worth millions of dollars. So like you don't know like really what the future holds, and it's the same thing with crypto. Like you could sell something right now and think you just made this amazing profit, and then it 10x's, So it's hard to call because so many people are saying we're in this euphoria and like this bubble, but it just keeps going and it keeps getting crazier. So it's like a wild
That's
ride.
true. I think just for people watching and listening who might not know, ETH would be Ethereum, and you sell the NFTs using Ethereum, using their chain as well. So that's sort of why we're using Ethereum as sort of a size to say how much something is worth. I know, and then after that we'll go into the next dilemma, and we'll get back to NFTs for sure, that you sold some of your artwork as well using NFTs. How's that? Because you were there, as far as I know, pretty early. Like you were one of the first people I follow artist-wise that were selling it. Maybe in your like little world it wasn't that way, but you got on it really, really fast. What triggered you? What made you really jump on it straight away?
Yeah, so this is interesting. I read a book called Future Proof You by Jay Samit, and he basically talks about the future technology and all these things and how to kind of start implementing these into your business now so that you don't become obsolete, right? Like so you don't become, like the taxis or like hotels or like all these different people who didn't adopt to like Blockbuster, for example, right?
Yep.
Like Netflix killed them, right? So his first book actually was amazing. By the way, I highly recommend it. It's called Disrupt You, and it talks about becoming a disruptor, looking for problems within your niche and solving them, finding new ways to help people solve the issues that they face and, create a business around it. And his second book talks about all these kind of futuristic opportunities that people are really investing in now and learning about and implementing into their business. And he talks about the metaverse and this basically like the idea that you're going to one day put on glasses like Google Glasses and you're going to live in a metaverse. Like there's going to be augmented reality all around you at different elements. You're going to walk in the grocery store and you're going to be able to say like what's gluten free, and then like everything that's like not gluten free will like disappear off the shelves, and you only see like it's crazy. And he didn't talk specifically about NFTs, but I started hearing about NFTs, and then I started hearing about digital displays of the artwork and like these like 3D universes and stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like this is right in alignment. So
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know if I
Yeah,
can.
you can for sure.
I'm gonna beep that out, but it just intrigued me, and I just became obsessed with it pretty quickly. Unfortunately, I didn't really act on it right away, and at the same time I became aware of it, a couple of my photographer friends actually started becoming aware as well and taking action and started creating their works and selling, and they were really, really early to the space. And we're also early to the space, but they were more pioneering, I would say, in the space, and they started to have massive success. And this caught the attention of myself and others, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta like refocus back on this and take some action on this. And then I started to produce some NFTs myself, and I networked with these photographers in the same group, and I actually sold a couple pieces, and that was an amazing experience. But the space, people see this success from others and they rush to the scene, right? Like the FOMO becomes crazy. And it hasn't even really peaked yet because there's still a lot of photographers and artists that aren't participating in the space. But there was a huge rush, and there is a ton of photographers in the space now. What's crazy, and this is, what I was just saying, is like things aren't slowing down. They're only escalating. Like I have a lot of photographer friends right now that are selling out collections of NFTs, even with the market being kind of saturated. I mean, it's just insane. So it's cool because even though there is a lot of people in the space already, not everybody, but a lot of people are finding success. And that for myself has been a journey too, because after I made those 2 sales, actually, I struggled for a few months to sell another NFT, and I just sold two actually yesterday and the day before I sold one. So it's crazy, and we can talk about that a little bit. But I realized that there was certain things that I really wasn't doing that I should have been doing, and I needed to put in a little bit more work. I needed to try some new things to find success in the space, and I think it's just an ongoing process. But the the takeaway is like I realized like me not getting this end result was not other people. It was on me. Like I needed to change my approach. I needed to adjust my pricing. Maybe put a little more effort into promoting the artwork and like creating some media around it and telling the story. And I started to implement those things and already started to see kind of more success. So
yeah,
I was kind of early to the space, but not super early.
Nice.
And the people that are super early are like killing it, dude. They're
nice.
So
it's insane.
So even some tips in there, as in
exactly.
like what should you do if you want to sell an NFT? As in, so put in some work, tell a story behind it, like post it on your social media, like promote a little bit. All right.
That's very good. There's also two other things you said, and they're not directed or not related to NFTs, but I just want to point that out. So the first one was the book you said, and that's exactly how I believe you should run any business, whether it's a photography business or anything. Just figure out, well, what is changing in the market, but figure out what is keeping someone up at night. What is the problem, and how can I solve that problem? And business should always be about selling a problem. And a lot of people just go out there and they think of the problems themselves, or they create problems and think people have the problem. I've made the mistake quite often in my life while I was creating software products to solve a problem that wasn't existing. So just actually figure out what is actually the problem of people, and then build a business around it. And that's the way that you should do it. And the second thing I just want to say that I think is really good, it is so easy to blame others for something not working for yourself. And, I think you should only focus your energy and time on the things that you can control, right? So if you're not happy with the result, fix it. You can't, I can't change the way that Stan thinks or whatever. I can only change the way that I think and I take action. So I think that's super valuable what you said there.
Yes. So, like we said, we will go more a little bit into NFTs, and we can talk about that for a long time. So get ready for that. But the next dilemma that was about actually like the taking a picture or editing it. I was pretty sure like you were gonna say, I was a little bit in doubt, but like you were gonna say taking the picture. But on the other hand, for photography, sort of editing the picture is also where the magic happens. So if you get a picture, it's probably like, that is my picture, and whatever happens with the editing, that's all right. You took the picture and you can make it pretty epic. Same applies to sort of video. If I would create videos, if I would not record the video, for me it would even be a problem because my face has to be in there. But let's say, I can edit some fun stuff, but I really want to put online what I want to. So you create that, you film that. But for a picture, it was like a picture can be next level, made next level in the editing. So I was a little bit in doubt, but all right. Yeah. Your answer was taking a picture.
Yeah, because the actual taking of the picture is the experience. So for me, I enjoy taking the photos, but I enjoy travel and I enjoy, exploring these amazing places and seeing them in person and experiencing it. So the dilemma would be, with the editing, like I enjoy the editing and I definitely put my own unique touch on editing and create my style through the taking and the editing. But I think the editing could be replicated more, and I could outsource editing. Like I could train somebody to edit just like me, and I could outsource it all. And some of these high-end photographers actually outsource all of their editing for the photos that you see in their galleries and online and stuff. So, and I outsource a lot of commercial stuff too. So for me, it would be an easy answer. I would much rather experience it in person, take the photo, be able to put my own unique kind of take on the scene, the composition. That's something that it's hard to train others. So that's also a big part included with the editing is like your own unique kind of vision of the scene and how you're going to frame it. So I think for the editing, I feel like you could train somebody to do. Yeah. And I have trained people for some of the commercial stuff I've done, to replicate my results. So that would be my choice.
Cool, yeah. And I think the main reason we also asked is definitely make sure to check out John's Instagram, because I think your photos, your art is amazing. because the editing
man.
really does, bring it to the sick neck level. And I think for you it would be the same, right? Exactly what you said. You can teach someone, and you are
Yeah,
teaching people
yeah.
how to edit your videos. But when I know from experience, whenever you're filming, like you are so much in control, like exactly how you want it to be, filmed.
Yeah.
And that's the same for John, right? When it comes to taking the photos.
Yeah, you can always say in post like, "Hey, can you change that to someone?" And you can't say, "Hey, can you go back to Norway and take that picture a little differently?" So that's
Exactly.
that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
okay. So the last dilemma.
Yeah, was the van or the photos? Because maybe a little backstory for the people right now who are listening. So John and I, we've met about a year ago, or maybe a bit longer already, maybe 2 years almost. And I know how long this has been your dream to build the van, and how much time, energy, and money as well went into creating the van. Super excited to see what it will turn out, by the way, because it should be almost done. So I know how much you
Yeah,
love it and how much
almost.
you take photos. So that's why I thought that might be a bit more difficult, but you still went for taking the photos.
Yeah. Yeah, because for me, the van is a means to the end, right? Like the photos is the goal. The travel, the photos is the goal. So to me, the van is just like a piece of that equation. Like it's not, the goal. So like I would choose taking photos and travel, and like I would find a different way to travel, right? Like I would fly, I would rent a car, all this stuff. So like that's an easy answer for me as well. Like I would rather like take photos and like do what I'm passionate about and like what fulfills me versus having this material thing that was just like a means to going out and taking more photos.
Yeah.
Again, an amazing answer
But-
if you ask me, because that's what people should be doing. Do whatever you really want to be doing,
Yeah.
and then money will follow and success will follow. So
Yeah, Bob convinced me to get the van. We had a call
yeah,
when I was considering buying it, and I'm like, this is going to be the biggest purchase I've ever made, and I'm like, definitely kind of taking a risk doing this, taking a leap of faith that I'm going to make this money back, be able to build it out the way I want as well, which is a lot of money. But Bob told me, buy the van, burn the ships,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
you'll make it happen.
Yeah,
There's
I
no way
mean,
back. So
and it worked out.
Yeah,
Not even biggest investment. So as in, like, you don't live in a house. You're renting
So
it?
no, the thing costs as much as a small house. I mean, like to create, so it is essentially it's a mobile home. I mean, it has a lot of amenities that a home would have, like a shower and the kitchen area and all this stuff, right? Refrigerator.
Freaking
But,
big. That's a big van.
It's not even big. It's like small, so it's all like crammed in this little space. But it's definitely a unique lifestyle, and for me, like I've rented several vans. I've gone to Iceland 12 times. I've rented camper vans there. I think probably like 8 of those trips. I mean, I've rented camper vans to travel around the U.S. for months at a time and traveled with friends in theirs, and like I've become accustomed to it. So I know like I can live that lifestyle and like sustain it, but it's definitely not for everybody. Like people like their comforts, and like you gotta really be okay with a minimalistic lifestyle because you have such limited space, and
Yeah.
it's kind of sketchy sometimes. You gotta like park in sketchy places and
yeah.
like camp in the middle of
Yeah,
nowhere
I can
by yourself
imagine, yeah.
sometimes and stuff. So like
But I do wonder,
It's
though.
not for everybody.
When I hear this, I think this would cost more than a pretty big camper van. Why go for? I mean, of course, this is made the way that you want it, but what made you decide I want to buy like a van and completely convert it to sort of a small camper van and not buy like a pre-made bigger camper van?
like big by like an RV.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the one that I have in particular is a 4x4 Sprinter. So it's like lifted, has all-terrain tires, 4-wheel drive. So this thing is like capable of going to some, pretty remote places where you wouldn't be able to get into a place like that with even like a 2-wheel drive camper van or an RV. Like forget about it, right? So like these RVs are massive. They don't have clearance. They don't have 4-wheel drive, and they're so long. Taking back roads or anything is sketchy. So for me, that was a must. I needed something agile, something a little bit shorter, 4-wheel drive with clearance. And they make pre-made versions of these, but those can be, anywhere from like 130,000 US and higher. Okay. And there was a shortage of them, and basically the price actually skyrocketed a lot on those as well. So I wound up going the custom route, and the reason was because originally I got the van with the intention that I was going to build it out myself on a budget, and then things kind of changed pace a little bit with business and stuff, and then I realized, well, I can actually do this the way I want to, and then I hired a company to build it out for me to basically make it like one of these custom pre-made vans. But that has its benefits and its drawbacks. I mean, I've been waiting like 5 months for this thing now.
Yep.
But I've also been able to design it myself and basically include all these little details that I wanted in the build, and that I will be happy with, versus just buying this like cookie cutter model that has less amenities and I have no control in it. So
yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
I want to pivot on something that you just said. So, and that basically is, you said I first wanted to build out it like on a budget, but then things turned around for the better business-wise. Now, again, I know a bit of your backstory. I know you come from a place where you did not have the money to buy a van. You did not have the money to buy sort of anything, but now you're here. So I think that can be a super inspiring story for people, and maybe also helpful. What are you willing, can you tell us a bit about what happened and whatever you want to share, of course?
Yeah. So obviously being an artist, there is a stereotype like starving artist. That's a term that is thrown around a lot because artists do struggle to sell their work. They are very creative, but not very much business minded. So for me, like when I started to do this for work, I found how to start a business and create commercial stuff. So like doing headshots and, real estate and stuff like that, not necessarily my artwork per se. So when I did start to shift my focus on making money through the art, that was a gradual process. And I didn't necessarily make a killing with that. I made enough to travel a little bit, on whatever I had, and then come back and make some more money, maybe with some commercial shoots, and kind of stretch that out. But there have been plenty of trips where I basically spent all my money on travel. Like I took a pretty big leap of faith, graduating from college and then deciding to do this as a full-time career, and I took a big leap of faith, just spending all my money on travel and building a portfolio and my artwork, and like really dialing that in, like getting a lot of beautiful photos and locations, with my own money, kind of with the hopes in return that I could sell these prints and license images and use that to get hired for, travel commercial work and stuff like that. So definitely money. It's all mindset, right? Like I work on myself constantly. I'm constantly listening to audiobooks on, law of attraction and creating a abundant mindset, and just really kind of expanding my beliefs and like what I'm capable of, what's possible, because it's easy for you as an artist to get caught up with, I cannot make a lot of money. Like I'm going to be struggling. Like I think most artists have this mindset. So so I know that I've shared with Bob that I had a bunch of equipment stolen. Early on, when I first started my commercial career, I had a bunch of equipment stolen from me in San Francisco. The rental car was broken into, and I had all my cameras and lenses, everything stolen, $16,000 worth. Ooh. And at the time, I had some heavy credit card debt, and basically, I was like distraught and basically just defaulted on that stuff. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Like this, I'll figure this out later. Right now, I have to scrounge this money together, get back in business. So I made some poor decisions early on, which, screwed up my credit and all this stuff. And then on top of that, I'm trying to like live this like, lifestyle where I'm just buying plane tickets to Iceland and renting camper vans with whatever money I have to, chase this dream and create my art. And that was, not sustainable. So basically, I was running in-person workshops as well, and I had the idea for online courses prior to the world shutting down. And this had been an idea for about a year at that time. And when, everything shut down, I had to cancel or postpone the in-person workshops. And my buddy, who is a filmmaker, also had a lot of work canceled and postponed for like the indefinite future. So we decided to take some action and actually create the courses. So the courses wound up being amazing for me because, this allowed me to teach a lot of people all over the world, not just in person, and reach, massive amounts of people, and also not have to dedicate my time to work in person. So that became a nice source of passive income for me. And then I wound up creating an editing tool to accompany the course, and then that wound up being like massively successful as well. So things turned around really quickly, and like the past year, where I was, I went from basically like, oh my God, the whole world shut down, to like, okay, this is an opportunity that I can take advantage of and build some online businesses with. And I wound up having like the best year of my life, like financially. And now I also have things set up that are running in the background, like the courses and the editing tool and stuff like that. So it's like passive income where I can also do the things that I traded my time for as well previously, now while I'm making money in the background. So that's been amazing. And basically when I first decided to get the van, this is when I started to have some success, and I'm like, okay, I got some extra money. I'm going to find a van, and I'll probably just throw an air mattress in the back of it and like just rough it. Like I was going to get like some old sketchy, like, like moving van or something. And then I found a really good deal on this 4x4 Sprinter van. It's a Mercedes. These things are pretty expensive.
Yep.
It is my dream van. Like I've always dreamed it. I have a picture of one on my vision board from like 4 years ago. So I was like, crap, this thing is like a massively good deal. It was a crazy story because I didn't take action on it and it got sold. And then I was all distraught about it. And then I got a call a week later saying like the guy backed out and I could still get it. And I was like, what? Okay, this is crazy. This is meant to be. So I bought it. And that was a massive leap of faith as well. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to throw an air mattress in the back of that thing, or like build it out like really, like minimalistic and just, kind of rough it. And then business started to kind of take off a little bit more. I had more opportunities and more ideas, and with NFTs and like a lot of other stuff kind of started popping off. And then I realized, man, you know what? I'm just gonna take a leap of faith, invest in this. This is my dream, and I'll make it back. And like I'm actually distraught about how much I've put into this damn van now, but like it's it's gonna be amazing. I know, and the satisfaction of actually doing it how I want, like everything specifically exactly how I want it, no skimping on the details or
that's
like
nice.
the luxuries of the thing. It's not something I thought possible,
No.
And then I was just gonna say I had to change my mindset, right?
Exactly.
Like I listened to like Think and Grow Rich. I've read that, or I've listened to the book probably 10 times.
Everyone should read it, by
Bob
the way.
Proctor.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said everyone should read the book or listen to the book, if you ask me.
Yes. Yeah, it was just changing my mindset.
Yeah.
And, like everything changed. So, and I'm still working. Like I know there's so much more possible, so like it's crazy. And now I'm having to change my mindset around selling my NFTs and my artwork and seeing people sell their art for, 100 ETH. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like $300,000
Yeah.
for a piece of artwork. But I know a photographer that has a price point at that right now. Like it's crazy. So like there's always room for expansion.
It's crazy. Yeah.
What
And it takes a lot of work.
what is the secret to NFTs? Like what is the best selling stuff? What you see, as in like if I would throw a picture of Bob on a website that sells NFTs or that does that. It's Bob, so we'll probably sell for a decent
course.
amount. But like what is the
If his shirt's off.
if his shirt's off, obviously. Like, so it has to be probably art that is creative, but you see a lot of videos or GIFs as well, or GIFs, like, I don't know. And you see, but you'll see pictures, and you see actually anything that is digitally available basically. So the thing is like, what do you see sells best, and in your work, what has sold best, and why is that the interesting thing? Why?
Yeah, it's a recipe, right? So like there is scarcity involved. So of one is very scarce. It has the same value propositions as like regular artwork, like, how much work went into it, was, the, like for a photographer, was the conditions that you had very rare, like this is like a once in a lifetime shot, like that goes into it. The story around it is huge. So like the photographer that I just mentioned that is having massive success has a very crazy story, basically struggling, kind of, being unappropriately targeted by the law and like having to fight all this legal stuff, and it was all centered around his art, so his story was very powerful. So I think when people connect emotionally with the work through a story, then they're more invested in it. They're willing to spend a lot more. They don't, price doesn't become an issue when somebody's emotionally attached. They're just like, whatever it is, I'll buy it.
100%. But you do need to find buyers that have that decent budget. Like
that's why you have platforms, right?
That's why you have platforms
where you can.
So you would have to have upload stuff or an NFT, and you would have to find like someone is looking for NFTs, and someone is really like, all right, I want to buy this piece of art, and then he actually interacts with it or looks on social media as well on the creator of the NFT and listens and watch. So there's a decent amount of work for for the person to buy it, but that actually kind of makes sense because when you buy something, you probably want to do your research. But I find it super interesting, and it makes sense because for people that say like, why would you buy, for example, I don't know, a picture of something, even though you can just download it yourself and put it on your computer? I mean, that's the same thing as why would you not just download the Mona Lisa and put it on your wall, because you want the real one. Right. I mean, that makes sense. So I mean, you want the one of one, but it's just a little bit like not tangible. So that's why it's so fun actually to talk about it. But okay.
Yeah, there's one thing, since we're back to NFTs. One thing I just do not understand about NFTs, and it is the amount of money going for avatars, which are created by computers. They just create 100 with a different smile or whatever. What are your thoughts on those things?
Oh,
yeah. So there's a couple aspects to that as well. Some of that is like a social flex. So like if you have like this rare crypto punk, you're basically like looked at like, it's like driving a Ferrari, right? Like people are gonna look at you with a social status that they know that thing costs $500,000, $1 million, whatever, right? So that's one aspect of it. But also people are making a ton of money from these things. And that's why these projects are popping off. And people are just aping into these projects because it's like, you buy 20 of these pieces at 0.05 ETH, and the likelihood that maybe 5 of them 10x, 20x, 50x is very high. So like you're going to make whatever you spent back and more. So that's why this whole avatar thing is going crazy. And that's something I've been on the sidelines for, which I regret, unfortunately, because I had the opportunity to buy a Bored Ape, back when they were like 1 ETH. And maybe it was 1 ETH I think it was 1 ETH or maybe even less. And now the floor for them is like 50 ETH. Mm-hmm. So they have gone up 50x since I had the opportunity. And that's just the plain ones that aren't rare, right? So like if you have like a rare one, you could sell one for like 100+ ETH right now, which is like
crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's collectability. It is a social flex, and it's also an opportunity to flip and make a lot of money. And a lot of people will actually buy multiple of one project so that they can flip a handful of them, make their investment back, and keep their rarest one and hold it as it appreciates in value, and also use it as like a social flex.
Smart.
Cool. Yeah, there's one more thing I want to get back to, and then we'll actually try and go to a bit of our standard questions that we always have and everything that we prepared, but we're just going over the place, which is also absolutely fine. In your story about how you said, like, everything got stolen and you got back up, every single time one aspect seems to be coming back with you. And I think that's a good thing. And that is showing like, okay, so the world shut down. I could really be stuck and say, this is shit. I cannot have my my events and my workshops and everything. Or I change my mindset and I actually make it work. You had to change your mindset to be able to get into NFTs. You had to change your mindset to get the van. And I think it is so important for people to realize that working on yourself and investing in yourself and these things it is so important. And it is the best return on investment you will ever get in your life. And I think everything that you've basically spoken so far, and the fact that we're here and that you can buy that van, shows how important it is to do that. So I think that's super important message to be spreading.
Yeah, I'll actually just I'll elaborate on that a little bit more. So I think it's important to not have a victim mindset. Like when I had all my stuff stolen, when I accrued all this debt, and I had stuff in collections and all this stuff, I had a very victim mindset. Like it's out of my control. This is like, why me? But I think shifting my mindset to be more proactive and like that I have more control over what I can do about the situation helps a lot, because like I believe that when you start to take action and you invest in yourself, like you chase your passion, or you kind of start to chip away. Like for me, I started paying off collections and all this debt basically when I started to have success, and I repaired my credit and and was still able to save money and then do some of the stuff that I wanted as well. That was very empowering for me, and I feel like it just snowballs. So when you change your mindset, you take the action, and you chase your passion, I think there's like a synergistic thing, and it the results are crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's a great way to look at a lot of stuff, and also problems in life. So that is just change the mindset. And also I would say you are willing to change your mindset, which is a very important thing, because if you're not willing to, you can try to learn it, but if you're not willing to, you're not going to do so. So I mean that's a benefit, but I mean you're doing that, so that is a great mindset as well.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
There you go.
As you say, being the victim only costs energy, and there's nothing gonna change if you keep being the victim. So yeah.
No. So, I mean, I want to go a little bit back, as in, like, what got you into photography? Where did your life, like, how did everything start? You can start from the point, from the age where you want to, and what you think is interesting. But Yeah.
Okay. So I've always kind of been entrepreneurial. Like even back when I was in like elementary school, I was like slinging candy and like yo-yo strings and like crazy stuff. Like I've always been entrepreneurial. I went to school and decided to pursue psychology. So I've also always been an artist. So I've always sketched, I've always drawn, I used to make music. I've always been very artistic. So long story short, I went to school studying psychology. I was going to become a counselor.
What age was this around?
And I realized... So I actually, so let me give you even some more backstory. So I have 12 years sober, and I just celebrated 12 years of sobriety.
Nice, congrats.
So thank you, man. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to become a counselor. I thought that I could become a counselor, a drug counselor or something, and help people. But I realized that actually through sobriety, I was able to help people through like AA and the programs I was involved. I was still able to help people without needing to have that as a career, right? So I changed majors, and I was going to do marketing, but that was going to require me to do a bunch of extra classes because it was a business major. So I actually decided to do advertising, which seemed like a good fit because maybe I could use some of the artistic qualities that I have, skills to work in that field. But I did go back to school later. So I took some time off from school because of all the substance stuff. I had to get sober and clean, and then I went back to school at a later time. So I'm 35 now. But when I was in college, I was like, in my late 20s, and I picked up photography just as a hobby in my last semester. And at that point, I was considering getting a desk job. Working at some advertising agency, maybe becoming an account manager or something. But I picked up photography kind of by accident. I was working in a restaurant as a waiter while I was in school, and I took photos for their Instagram with my iPhone of the food. So like the sushi, that I worked at a sushi restaurant, and it was really beautiful food. And I took these amazing photos with the iPhone and posted them on Instagram, put filters on them and stuff. And this photographer came in one day to take photos for the menu, and he's had the whole setup with the flash and the lights and like, you know, the special lenses that blur the background out and stuff like that. And I saw the pictures that he took and I was just floored. And I was like, what the hell? You know, because my crappy iPhone pictures were like nothing. So that inspired me to pick up an actual camera and start taking high quality photos. So I started to take better photos at the restaurant. Then I started to venture out and take photos of my city, like the skyline. And then I went to Iceland in 2017 and fell in love with landscape photography and travel. That was like my first big trip. And so I finished school. I was still working at the restaurant. I had a mentor actually that I met through AA, through sobriety. And this guy was very successful. He runs like an investment company, like a financial planner type company. And he told me to, you know, maybe consider doing photography. And at the time, I had started getting requests for like headshots and real estate and stuff. And people are asking me to buy my photos of like my city, like the skyline for prints for their home and office and stuff. So I'm like, what the hell? I can make some money doing this. So he told me to, you know, hold off after I graduated. Don't take a job. Just keep building up clients, keep taking on new work. And then when I get too busy with that, I could leave the restaurant and pursue that. And that happened in about a year. After I graduated, I was able to have so much clients with commercial stuff and improve my skills and offer so much value with that I was able to walk away from waiting tables and start my own company full time. So
Cool.
I mean,
and that's looked like 1,000 different things.
yeah, and that's where you actually just build off of, and that's how you're now here, probably. What I like about the story is that it's not, so I picked up a camera and I got a few clients and now I'm here. It's really like, so I decided to do this, and then 1 year later I could finally do this. So there's really like sort of showing the creative online everything actually world. It takes, you see a lot, like a year or two before people actually start to get some success in some way that they can maybe leave like their job in like either a restaurant or a supermarket or stuff like that, which is super interesting. It's not like, oh, I just woke up famous. I just woke up like super.
And a lot of people pretend it's that way on social media, which
pretend.
is, we speak about this so often. It really pisses us off. So many people think like, why am I not successful yet? I've been doing this for 2 months. I see people online on social media getting really successful after like a few months, and that's not the way the world works. So I think it's super inspiring story. Also, thank you for sharing that backstory. Speaking on that, because I know, especially during all the lockdowns in this world, even friends of mine, I know a lot of people started either smoking something or taking something or drinking a lot because they were lonely. There was nothing to go, especially if they were single. So I know it's actually pretty much, you know, a big issue right now for people. Do you have maybe some tips that you have to people who are maybe struggling with some substance abuse or anything? Anything?
Yeah. So I think we, like, from my perspective and my own experience, like I used drugs and alcohol to fill my time, to fill a void, to connect with people. So I think there's a lot more healthy ways to do that, right? Like photography, working out, joining a social club, you know, taking on some type of hobby or something you're passionate about, finding something you can, you know, get that sense of fulfillment from, and also will take your time and connect you with other, you know, positive, like-minded people. So I think that's huge. I think, you know, just connecting with other people and sharing and kind of talking about these things too is huge. So one of my goals actually with photography is to create a nonprofit that is going to benefit at-risk youth and give them photography as a creative outlet and kind of give them something positive to empower them at the time that a lot of people start to experiment with drugs and, you know, start to run with the wrong people and try and, you know, act out. So that's one of my goals personally, but it's important. I mean, there's so many different programs too. Like AA was huge for me.
Yep.
And when I first started, I used to go to meetings like every single day. And those meetings also consist online now with the pandemic and stuff. But just being able to talk to other people who are struggling as well and kind of find that support network is huge. And it's crazy because like the NFT space and Twitter and like it's almost like there's these meetings going on all day on Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces and stuff, and all these artists are connecting online and collectors as well, and just sharing and just talking about life and struggles, and they're everybody's supporting each other with their journeys and stuff as well. It's really beautiful. So I think finding a hobby, finding something positive that can fill your time and fulfill you, and finding a support network are huge.
Cool.
Nice.
Very, very nice.
Yes.
And also, once you have the nonprofit, make sure to let us know, and we'll definitely share it, because I think that's a super, super good cause. So,
That would be awesome.
Is
Yeah,
it going to
man.
be something?
Yeah, I have some plans with the NFTs and stuff as well to implement that as well.
Oh,
And maybe get these kids involved with NFTs and give them some life-changing money opportunities as well.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. And for the photography, is it going to be something like sort of an in-person, maybe like phone photography, and get everyone started and like cheap as possible? Lots of people have a phone. Just get them to know like their phone, the apps they can use and stuff like that. I think that can change people's life. Literally, like getting them to sort of see the opportunities with everything they already have in their hands, and then just try like, hey, you can set your own tone to everything you see. So that could be
yeah.
something cool. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, and then maybe get sponsors involved and stuff as well. Like if I could get Nikon, if you're listening, Nikon, or other companies to donate some cameras, lend them out, organize some workshops, provide instructors. I got a lot of ideas, but
Nikon,
you're right,
Canon,
the iPhone
Sony,
is
if you're listening.
yeah, for real.
Cool.
I actually think I saw a YouTuber do that recently. I think I'm not sure what his name was again. I watch a few of his videos. Like he got a shit ton of I think it was Canon or Nikon cameras. It was pretty epic, and he also had the same thing like as a for a good purpose. So that was very nice to see.
Cool.
So yeah, all right. So what does a standard day look like for you from start to finish? You can explain it in like a minute, just 2 minutes, just real quick.
This is a struggle. Honestly, like I struggle, I think, being a creative person with discipline and structure. Like I've discussed this with Bob previously. We talked about maybe having a schedule and kind of like a structure and routine. And, he actually brought up the point, and this kind of made me aware of it, is that creative people can feel restricted with the schedule and a routine, and maybe that just became an excuse for me to not really dial it in. But I'll give you kind of my basic routine. I wake up, I watch a video. I'm subscribed to a service through Bob Proctor's company. It's called 6 Minutes to Success. And every morning I get a video in my email with a 6 minute or a few minute clip, basically kind of something positive to start the day. So that I'll walk you through my ideal routine.
All right,
like,
yeah.
This is like what it looks like if I actually stick to it every day. And then I get up, I make my coffee, and then I have kind of like an affirmation. It's kind of like a goal that I read every morning, kind of when I'm still like half asleep and kind of like in like a subconscious state.
Is that a goal you want to
I-
share or not yet? That's like the
I'll give you the gist of it. Basically, one of the pieces to it is that I'm earning over $1 million a year, providing my clients with value and quality. So that's through my services, and they're constantly improving. So I'm increasing the quantity and quality constantly. That's my goal. Another it has to do with my goal for the charity. So I want to positively impact 100,000 photographers and at-risk youth every year through my photography, benefiting them
Nice.
and giving back. So that's two big pieces of it, and there's some other wording in there as well. But I repeat that every day when I wake up, before I go to bed. That's something that Napoleon Hill suggests in Think and Grow Rich, and basically you embed that goal into your subconscious mind to where you start to think about it as if it's already your reality. That's been huge for me, is building mindset, is like the affirmations. So the second thing I do is I actually write down. I got a little notebook, and I write down. On one side, I list out 10 items for what I'm grateful for, and then on the other side, I have 10 items for my goals. So I have 10 goals that I write down, and they haven't really changed a lot, but basically the idea is repetition. So I'll just write the same goals basically down every day. Sometimes I tweak little things or switch one out. And then I try and do something active, and then I try and get some work done. And then I get involved with like these spaces, like these Twitter spaces and the community and stuff too, and put in the work for the networking and stuff as well. So the second half didn't sound as structured, and honestly, this is stuff that I'm working on. Honestly, like I'm blown away, honestly, just from having success, from being as undisciplined as I am, and like it kind of blows me away sometimes. Like I don't feel like I've really put a ton of effort in, like to make it happen, but I've shared that with other people, and they tell me that that's not true. That like they see me as like, you know, killing it and working hard and like really putting in the work. And I think that it's because I do a lot centered around what I love, that it doesn't feel like that sometimes. But I know that I'm not at my peak performance. I know I could do more. I know I could be really disciplined and working harder and creating these things, these ideas and stuff that I have. So it's an ongoing process for me to kind of refine that routine, because I know that, like, you know, basically your days add up and create your future. So like I'm aware of it and I'm working on it, but you know, that's my perfect day when I actually do all those things. A lot of times I'll wake up and I'll look at, you know, Twitter, I'll look at the current value of cryptocurrency and get like side railed
and just go back to sleep.
Yeah, no, it's easy. It's super easy to, you know, it's easy to wake up, check your email, and see like some angry email from a client, or like, you know, 10 emails asking for support with your product or service or whatever. Like this is also stuff I need to work on, is hiring assistants and stuff like that to help and kind of automate more of that stuff. So that's, again, actions that I need to take.
Yeah, especially that last thing, 100%. Like, get a VA or anyone who can just do all of those things. And there's so many things I want to respond to, but it shouldn't be a monologue too long for my side. Just a few small things. For people who don't know how affirmations work and thinking we're rich who haven't read it, basically the idea is that our subconscious brain controls about 95% of our actions that we take, right? The decisions that we take are for 95% based on our subconscious mind, and they're going to do what they believe is best for us. So if you keep writing down certain things that you want to be achieving as if you've achieved it, right? That's what affirmations are. Your subconscious mind, and you're writing down your goals, your subconscious mind knows that that's where we should be going. That's what's good for us. So you start taking the decisions that will actually lead to the actual outcome that you've been wanting, and that's why it feels like the stars are aligning or whatever people say. But, you know, you are actually taking the action. That's one, and I'll just do one more out of the 5 things I thought about. The other one is, yes, I did tell you that creative people in general are, you know, because there's not too much structure, there's freedom to be creative. And I think finding the balance between just having a chaotic life and being too structured, I think that's the challenge for most creative people. For you, and I think Stan has sort of the same kind of thing.
Yeah. So actually, I was wondering, is there sort of an evening routine or anything, or was it just the end there? As in, like, what do you do in the evening?
Yeah. So a lot of the times I don't work out in the afternoon consistently. So I'll work out in the evening, sometimes late. But I'm constantly like, okay, I did leave out a big part. I listen to audiobooks and podcasts, YouTube videos and stuff like that all day. I literally have my AirPod in all day, and I'm listening to, you know, self-development stuff, or I'm learning about crypto or NFTs and trying to, increase my knowledge and kind of like my value, right? Like what I can either acquire or provide value-wise. So that's huge. My night routine is not great, to be honest with you. I need to like set some I know what I need to do, right? Like that's the biggest struggle, is we all know what we need to do. It's just a matter of figuring out why we're not doing it and then doing it.
So
right? I know I need to. So yeah, I know I need to like shut the screen time down. I know I need to, you know, set like some reading time, winding down time, you know, meditation maybe, even at night, to relax. But I'm usually on my phone literally before I go to bed.
A big thing here on the podcast is like, what time do you go to bed?
Late. Yeah.
I was expecting that answer. Like there was nothing screaming like, yeah, I'm gonna go like at 11 p.m. There was like everything screaming, I'm gonna go at 1 or 2.
I've been trying to get consistently 8 hours or at least 7 hours. Recently, I've really made an effort to get to bed a little bit earlier, to exit out of the Twitter space or Clubhouse chat and disconnect and kind of like wind down a little. So I've made an effort for that recently. But sleep is huge, I know. And also a big struggle is when you're a travel photographer, jumping from time zone to time zone and stuff as well is crazy. If you jump overseas, you're way ahead. If you go out to the west, I'm 3 hours behind. So it's like, but no excuse when I'm home for months at a time.
That is definitely true. So one of the ways, of course, that you grew your business was through your Instagram. Your Instagram is pretty big, right? You have a pretty nicely sized account. How did you, because we have a lot of people here trying to grow their social media and everything. How did you grow your account, and do you have any tips for people who are trying to grow their account?
Yeah, I think, you have to provide value. So like it has to be in some form or another. So maybe you're giving tips, maybe you're providing pretty photos. I mean, there's some type of benefit that your viewers receive from following and engaging with your account, right? So like for me, it started off more so just pretty photos. I mean, really, it's kind of all I've ever done. I mean, I've offered some tips and stuff with photography, behind the scenes. I have created the courses and stuff where I do kind of free trainings and stuff to help and also promote the courses. But really, I would say for myself, my value proposition is just beautiful photos. And then a lot of accounts like to share those photos for their own accounts, and then that in turn grows your following. So provide value, use the right hashtags so you reach the right people, relevant people to your niche. And like for me, when I first started my journey, I was taking photos of Tampa, Florida, my hometown, and I would post them online, and those would get featured by different feature pages around my city. And then people that are in my city actually would reach out to me and ask me to do photo shoots. They would say, I like your Tampa skyline shots. Do you shoot real estate? Do you shoot headshots? Can you take photos of my restaurant? So that's huge as well if you want to get business. But also going and using the right hashtags, and then going to those hashtags and engaging with other people who are using them, liking their photos, commenting and all that stuff. Very time consuming. So I don't do that really anymore. But that's huge as well. And also responding to people who comment on your post. Yeah. People like to feel heard. So it's a two-way street. And also, like big feature pages. Like I think I've grown my following mostly from getting featured on big pages. And that's either from using their hashtag or tagging them in the picture or befriending some of the moderators and starting to engage with their posts as well.
Interesting to hear that like you grew your account by getting sort of shout outs, or just as in like reposts by bigger accounts. But probably those accounts also sort of like grew their account like that in a way, and they reposted big stuff which went sort of far. Like Instagram is so weird. Instagram, like if you want to grow there, Instagram is not a grow platform. It's just more like, that's why I've always seen it as a side sort of project. But I'm very interested to see, like, because your main activity is on Instagram, right?
Yeah. I if I could go back, I would do what you do. I would focus my time on YouTube or a platform that actually allows me to monetize.
Yeah.
Instagram just recently started paying creators to go live. So that's something that I've done a little bit.
I feel like they're way behind.
Live. It's not that much money though.
No, I feel like they're so behind in some way. And yeah, I was wondering, like, there are I think like you've got the guy Pix Imperfect or Pix, like I've seen him on your website as well. I've watched his tutorials.
He did a video for my plugin. Yeah,
nice. So that probably did a decent amount of things for the plugin.
Yeah,
because he is a pretty big guy.
He's got like 4 million. Yeah, he's got like 4 million on YouTube or something crazy, like 3.5 or something.
And there are lots of Photoshop-ish or just photography people, and they are very well. Doing very well on YouTube, also on Instagram, but mainly because well, yeah, they're like
YouTube.
photos and Instagram, they go well
Yeah.
together, but especially if you combine it with a source that can grow, which is YouTube.
Yeah.
And they're just like, everything works for them. So I was wondering for you,
Huge.
like you're pretty big on Instagram and everything is going well. So there's actually still sort of more to sort of try out. I mean,
Yeah.
if everything is working right now, I would say don't change too much because YouTube is a fuck ton of work. But I mean, I think you can do it, and I think you can, especially if everything is going alright. You can even get some help from people that already like.
Plus, once you have the van, man, make a YouTube channel around the van.
Also,
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do plan to do like van life, travel, photography content.
Oh, nice.
on YouTube,
I think they could be big.
and more instructional videos. I
instruction,
got like
yeah.
2,500 right now. I got like 2.5, but that's mainly just because I've posted a lot of the videos from my editing plugin on my YouTube, so people that use the plugin
Yeah.
are subscribed to my channel.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. So I would definitely think there's a lot of value there in terms of if you're gonna do some tutorial stuff like the Pix and Perfect guy, like he's doing insanely well. I don't even want to know, but there you go. So yeah,
How about because
He's doing well.
you mentioned Clubhouse a few times, and when it just came out, I got an invite. I tried Clubhouse a few times, but I don't know, it wasn't my thing. You seem to be pretty active on there. Is that like, how's that for you? Is it beneficial for the business, or is it more to learn, or how do you use it?
Yeah, because you can connect. Like you can connect on Clubhouse with other, artists that are making it, that are killing it. Other people in your niche, right? So like, there's Clubhouse rooms centered around crypto investing, around entrepreneurialism. There's so much stuff. So I've been in Clubhouses several times recently with Grant Cardone in them talking, and like other big figures in kind of the entrepreneurial area. So Clubhouse is really beneficial because it's almost like a live podcast with lots of people. And, it's, there's different people on the stage at any given time talking, but you're getting value, right? So you're learning. And it's also amazing, like going back to talking about actually getting support and connecting with people. It's just such an amazing tool to connect with people like we're doing right now. I mean, that's basically Clubhouse or a Twitter space without the video. So
Yeah.
you can still hear the person's voice. You can hear the emotion. You can it's a very higher quality of communicating than just in a chat through text or something.
I've also found it so interesting because I feel like I think that has to be it, like the connection part. Because why would Grant Cardone spend his time there? Why would people like? What is even the sort of Clubhouse, I think group you're in or the house you're in?
Yeah.
Why would they hire Grant Cardone to speak there? What is their value? Like, where is?
No, they don't hire him. Yeah, no, he just comes in. So the value is, I mean, this is kind of how we all sell, right? This is how we all sell. We provide value.
Yeah.
People see the value and they realize that, wow, like if I got this value for free, imagine, like what this guy's paid training is going to be, right? I mean, that's kind of like, that's not really the main reason why people really just genuinely want to help. I mean, I think people like that have made it, they get fulfillment from helping others kind of, find their path. So that's one aspect. And then also, the more you're sharing and you're giving and you're providing value, the more awareness there is of you, more people learn about you and learn about your services, and like, you prove to them your high value, and then they want to learn more. They want to, maybe hire, buy your program or, whatever it is, right? Like your YouTube, I'm sure you provide a lot of value, and then, I guess you're actually paid for that, like not like Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces, but you should be paid for it, right? Like you're providing value.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. It's like we provide value, we're rewarded. For that.
Yeah.
Not just with money.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, let's be honest. Your course wouldn't have that many sales than if you wouldn't have this big of a YouTube channel, of course. So,
Yeah.
And,
So
and yes, YouTube does pay you. There's a whole podcast, if you haven't seen it, about how much Stan's actually making out of YouTube revenue. So if you're listening right
I
now,
need to watch that.
yeah, everyone should who hasn't seen it.
but yeah, exactly. So, but I was wondering, as in like because everything starts with, if you look at Clubhouse, for example, everything starts, well, not everything. Instagram doesn't either pay you for your posts or stuff like that. But you have to have some sort of incentive, you would say, for especially new platforms, for creators that are interesting, that draw people in, the big people, like the big masses, there has to be some sort of incentive for those to actually get in there. And I think it's that then, yeah. I think it's the communicating and sort of
Also helping.
Yeah, but helping is probably not enough for because it's so big. Helping is never. It's probably they're going to be enough for Clubhouse to be like.
Oh no,
this
that
big.
is true.
So
But
I was wondering, what is the incentive for the big creators to actually drive in the masses?
I think it's community.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's community. Like that's such a community, and finding your tribe and like somewhere you fit in and like you can contribute to is so huge. And that's also another part I didn't even talk about earlier with the avatars for the NFTs. These people that are like Bored Ape owners or CryptoPunk owners, they're in a community.
True.
There's such a huge aspect to that.
Yeah.
There's so much like just like connection between these people when they all own these same things and they're like a part of this club.
Yeah.
So it's also a big part of community.
Yeah,
I
so
think, too.
that is for products. I would definitely, for products or something, some type of thing you buy, I would definitely understand that. So what I was actually sort of aiming at is a platform for it to stand out or grow. It either needs to stand out or solve a problem that isn't been solved yet. But I'm pretty sure that most of the features, maybe now not anymore, that Clubhouse offers are actually in Reddit as well, in the app as well. You can actually go into these live things. You can go into these live conversations. You can go, I think even, or Discord. Discord is very similar.
Yep.
So that's why
Discord has audio too.
That's why I was so confused, as in like, you've got the communities there. You've got the communities in Discord. Why would this pop off so randomly?
Yeah, but of course they made it very exclusive in the beginning, and there were some really big names who they invited in the beginning and who were there. I think that really took off as well, because you need some big names in the beginning as a new platform.
I just found it so interesting.
I think Clubhouse was first. And then Twitter created Spaces copying them. Discord added the audio feature, I believe, the audio chat afterwards.
Okay.
So basically, all these companies did what Instagram did to like Snapchat.
Yeah.
You know, Instagram added stories, and then Snapchat. You know, I don't know. I don't use Snapchat. I had never have, but I'm sure that they took a big hit, right?
It's our age,
Twitter
John.
Spaces,
it's our age. The Snapchat thing.
Yeah. Twitter Spaces killed Clubhouse. Like, I used to spend all my time on Clubhouse until Twitter Spaces came around. And then now I'm like, okay, Twitter is where I'm at for all of the NFT stuff. Why would I go to a different platform?
Yeah, exactly.
When all my artists and collectors are already on Twitter and I can do the audio chat here now.
Yeah.
So
people want different apps for different purposes, but at some point it is too much, because I've seen this. People don't want to have, you could see that with YouTube Music, for example. People like to have Spotify and YouTube and not just use YouTube Music or YouTube as on itself for music or stuff like that. But they like, you don't want to have like 100 different apps. If you have like probably 5, that's a little overkill maybe already. Like, you can see people sort of choosing between Instagram and Facebook already, because I think you probably on Facebook, but are you
not that much?
No, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I've shifted a lot of my focus to Twitter.
Twitter even, there you go.
Because of the NFTs.
Yeah.
So like, I haven't spent as much time on Instagram as of recently, because my focus is on right now NFTs as well, and you know, everybody's on Twitter for that.
Yeah, because
so it's,
I like to focus on
my focus has changed.
I like to focus on one thing and do that really well, but I'm working on trying to not focus my efforts there, but just hire someone to focus my efforts on every single platform. So you are everywhere, and you're not missing out on any sort of given growth that might happen, or something crazy that happens, just like crypto or NFTs. So you are everywhere,
right,
but you are focusing on one thing and doing that really well. But that's like, because I hate to sort of focus, be like, I need to really work on Instagram right now, and then I would just lose creativity on YouTube, I would feel like. But
yeah, that's true. And just to get back to what you said about community and NFTs, that just reminded me, I spoke to a guy who has, I'm not sure which avatar NFT he has, but he's in a Discord group with that. And all he had there in his bio, because he owned the NFT, was that he is a web developer. He makes websites. And everyone within that group who needs a website goes to him, because, hey, we're a community, need
smart.
a website. And he doesn't even promote it, but he told me he gets 2 to 3 website jobs every single month through this thing. So
that's a nice.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's celebrities using their Bored Ape or their Punk as their avatar.
Yep.
Steph Curry was in a Twitter space yesterday. On his Twitter right now, he has a Bored Ape. Bored Ape Yacht Club had a big event yesterday where they released some new NFTs. And they're actually about to be, the Bored Apes are about to be auctioned off at Sotheby's. So CryptoPunks were auctioned at Sotheby's. Dude, I'm telling you, these Bored Apes have literally gone from, like I said, well, they first were minted at like 0.08 ETH, and now you can't get one less for 50 ETH.
Which is like what?
Like that's insane.
That's
insanity.
One guy created like all these things.
A group of people.
Okay, and every time...
Yeah, a group of people consisting of artists and marketing, all these different parts to it.
If I'm correct, in the contracts, the smart contracts, you can even see that every single time there is a sale, I'm not sure how this is set up. They get a percentage, right?
Yep.
Nice.
And that's a big part of the art too. So, for example, my buddy who I told you who's been super successful with his photography series that's blowing up, he gets a 10% 10% commission from every resale. So like when somebody sells his NFT that they originally bought for 0.5 ETH and then they go and sell it for 10, he gets 1 ETH from that sale, and it's perpetual. So like every time it's flipped, like it's changing people's lives.
Fuck, I want to create an NFT.
Yeah, some serious FOMO hitting
Everybody
here.
does.
No, I just want to experience it. Like I just want to create one really good NFT, just one.
You should experiment with it. I think everybody should try.
No clue what I would make.
Everybody needs to get some skin in the game and start trying. And that's how I was with like the crypto stuff as well. Like I waited so long to get involved with that. And then when it finally came to a point where I was like FOMOing so bad I decided to get in, I did it at the top and then everything crashed. But I do have regrets in that, but I have no regrets for actually getting involved and getting skin in the game and starting to learn about this, these things that are going to disrupt the future, right? Like you want to be in the game and start to learn, because these things aren't going anywhere. They're only going to become more of our society. It's going to be like a big part.
I have a clip of my brother in his underwear. I should probably just GIF that and just put that online. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so let me give you an example. There's a guy I follow for crypto stuff named George. His channel's called Cryptos Are Us, so he's another big YouTuber. And he actually released his own NFTs. And they were literally a picture of himself. And he's sold, I think, 1 or 2 already. I think the first one sold for like 3 Ethereum or something.
Why?
So
because people know him.
You can create something. Yeah, you can create something super unique that's really specific to your channel, maybe some part of your story or something like that. And the people that are connected with you emotionally, like invested in you, will see value in that, right? Like I would have no incentive at all to buy an NFT of you, but somebody who's been subscribed to you for your whole channel's history would see value in that, maybe especially if it's part of your story or something.
We'll make it work, Stan. I'll be your manager. I just want to have 10%
of every sale now.
Perpetual, yeah. We'll make it work.
But you got to do it in a certain way too.
Yeah.
Like you can't do it as a cash grab. I mean, all NFTs are cash grab. I mean, cash grabs. Like let's be honest. Like everybody is in them because they're making money, but there's a certain way to get into the space, to get involved in the community, and the people that actually take the time to do that, learn about it, connect, are the ones that are really, really winning. And the ones that just jump in out of nowhere and try to release stuff, there's the ones that are like obvious. True. They're there for the wrong reasons and they flop.
Yeah, I'm just super interested
just
for the.
I see a 30-day challenge coming here, Stan.
Trying to flip.
I created my first NFT and this is what happened, or for 30 days. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, John. We have like a lot more topics we wanted to talk about, but we're kind of running out of time. So we have a few standard questions that we always ask in the end. And the first one, and I think I'm going to guess a bit, but I'll let you decide, is always, what is the next big thing? So the next new revolution in whatever, or new technology, or...
Well, it could be multiple things of what you mentioned in this podcast.
Yeah, there's so many things you mentioned.
You mentioned augmented reality. You mentioned
NFTs.
NFTs, obviously. You mentioned crypto, which is related, but stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the one big thing. I just know it's all digital. Like, we're like attached to our phones. They're literally a part of our, our our body at this point, you know? Like we spend so much time with these devices, everything's digital. I think it's just going to keep shifting more and more towards digital, like, and we're already spending less and less of our focus on real life and more on the screens. So the progression with like Google Glasses and like these VR headsets and stuff, I think that that's going to be something that is going to take some time and adjustment. But I think that once people figure out the user experience, like Apple, if Apple makes some really sleek glasses that look good and also work really well,
Yeah.
you don't need some VR headset. I mean, I think once the user experience is dialed in, like these things are going to be like our phones, you know, like we're not going to hold the phone. We're just going to see our screens like to the right and the left. And like
there's something I actually
you're
told.
going to get a text message and like your,
Yep.
you know, your peripheral vision, and like you'll be able to like look at the arrows while you're driving in front of you without looking at a navigation, you know, for your GPS. And
Oh, definitely.
it's going to be crazy.
I told Stan something this afternoon that I actually heard about this new invention. It's not approved yet. The FDA is still looking at it, but it's a contact lens, and it has a micro projector which projects everything onto your retina.
Jesus.
And the idea is that you can watch a movie with your eyes closed. That's one of the things. But it can, in the future, also recognize things. So you can, well, as we said, like walk through a store and say, you know, well, what it's discussed by. That could be done. It could even, and that's a bit scary, have facial recognition, and you walk past people and it recognizes who it is, and you can see like everything. But even as a contact lens,
It's crazy.
right now, it's just, yeah. It's scary.
That I mean, glasses sounds a little bit more realistic short term than that. I guess, but that they were working on that already. So it sounds a little bit like Ready Player One. Have you seen that movie?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, these NFT projects actually, some of them include 3D files. So, for example, this isn't the case with like the Bored Apes, but this will be the case sometime, or like a CryptoPunk. Once these metaverses exist, you can actually be your character in them.
Ah, damn.
So you can be your avatar inside of these like augmented spaces.
I know a guy, and I'll connect you to him after the podcast, who's creating a game where you can have your avatar, who is the character in the game, and you can actually mine. I'm not allowed to say too much about it. Something's happening behind us. We'll talk more off camera about it, but it's super exciting.
Last question. What is your superpower? What do you excel at? What are you better at than others? What do you think is your superpower?
I think it's networking. If I had to really place my finger on it, I think it's networking. I think it's like figuring out how to connect with people that I need to succeed to another level, and actually making those connections. And I don't know. I think that's kind of always been my superpower, I feel like.
It sounds like, from what I've heard and everything you've spoken about, as in, it sounds like you're at the right spaces for everything you think is interesting or what your passion is. When I look at what you said, like how much you're on Twitter, but also on the other platforms, on the other apps, and you're just listening and just networking there. So it looks like you're on the right places at the, well, not right time, but for the right subjects.
John, thank you so much. All of the links to his
much.
social media will be in the show notes, will be in everywhere, anywhere, wherever you're watching or listening to this. John, thank you so much. And we'll see you in the next
Subscribe.
My pleasure.
Hit bell, rate the podcast everywhere, and make sure to check out John. Links in the description. See you there.